The ship broke free from the station and flew into the endless black. Stars spread out in every direction like diamonds on dark cloth. Tay sat in the pilot's seat, his hands on the controls. Beside him, Sue worked on the navigation system, finding them a safe path away from Dreth space. In the back of the ship, Hana slept. They had found a small bed for her in the cargo hold. It was not much, just some blankets and an old pillow. But she had curled up on it like it was the softest thing in the universe. She had fallen asleep in seconds, her small body finally giving up its fight to stay awake. Tay watched her on the ship's camera, watched her chest rise and fall with each breath, watched her ears twitch as she dreamed. "She is safe now," he said, more to himself than to Sue. Sue looked up from his work. "Yes, for now. But what happens later? Where do we take her? What do we do with her?" "We find her people, the Falari. We take her home. And if she has no home?" "You heard what the Vex said. Her family was killed. Maybe all of them." Tay was quiet for a long moment. Outside the window, the stars moved slowly past. So many stars. So many worlds. Somewhere out there had to be a place for Hana. A place where she could be happy. A place where no one would ever put chains on her again. "Then she stays with us," Tay said. Sue stopped what he was doing. He turned to look at his friend. "Us? You mean you?" "I did not agree to take care of a cub. You will love her. Everyone loves Falari cubs. I do not love anything that eats and makes noise." But there was a small smile on Sue's face. A smile he was trying to hide. Tay saw it. He knew his friend. Under all the complaining, under all the fear, Sue had a good heart. He would not turn away a child in need. No human would. That was the thing about humans. They pretended to be hard. They pretended to care only about themselves. But when it mattered, when a life was on the line, they always chose the hard path. The path that cost them. The path that hurt because somewhere deep inside, every human remembered what it was like to be small and afraid. What it was like to need help. What it was like to have no one come. The ship flew on through the dark. Hours passed. Then more hours. Sue eventually fell asleep in his chair, his head dropping forward, his snores filling the quiet ship. Tay stayed awake. He could not sleep. His mind was too full of thoughts, too full of pictures. The auction hall, the cub on the floor, the Dreth with the gold teeth, the looks on all those alien faces when he had walked down the stairs. They had been afraid of him. All of them. 40 armed aliens, and they had let one human walk right through them. They had let him take what he wanted and leave. Why? Tay had asked himself this question many times. He had asked it when he was young and first learning about the galaxy. He had asked it when he joined the Human Alliance as a soldier. He had asked it when he left the Alliance and became a freighter pilot, just trying to make enough money to survive. Why did the galaxy fear humans? They were not the strongest. There were species that could break human bones with one hand. They were not the fastest. There were species that could move so quickly human eyes could not follow. They were not the smartest. There were species that could solve problems humans could not even understand. But still, the galaxy feared them. And now, sitting in the dark of his ship, Tay thought he finally understood it was not about strength or speed or brains. It was about something else. Something that other species did not have. Could not have. Humans did not know when to stop. Other species fought until it was not worth fighting anymore. They counted the costs. They measured the risks. They made smart choices about when to push and when to give up. Humans did not do that. Humans kept going even when it made no sense. Even when the math said they should lose. Even when every path led to death. They kept going because of love. Because of hate. Because of pride. because of promises they had made to themselves in the quiet hours of the night. The Dreth in the auction hall had seen that. He had looked into Tay's eyes and seen something that made no sense to him. A human willing to die for a cub that was not his. A human willing to make enemies with the whole sector for a small ball of orange fur. It made no sense. It was crazy. It was stupid. But it was also terrifying. Because if a human would do that for a stranger, what would they do for someone they truly loved? What would they do for their families? Their friends? Their home? The answer was simple. They would do anything. Burn worlds. Break empires. Keep fighting until there was nothing left to fight with. And then keep fighting some more. The camera showed Hannah moving in her sleep. She was having a dream. Maybe a bad one. Her small body twitched, and a soft sound came from her throat. Tay got up from his chair. He walked quietly to the cargo hold. He sat down beside the small bed and put his hand on her head. Gently, like before. He said, "It is okay. You are safe. I am here." The cub stopped twitching. Her breathing slowed. She leaned into his touch, pressing her head against his palm. "Safe," she murmured in her sleep. "Human, safe." Tay sat there for a long time. He did not move. He did not sleep. He just watched over her, protected her, like he had promised to do. Back on Station Varix, the auction hall was quiet. The Vex had sent everyone home. There would be no more sales tonight. No one was in the mood to buy. The aliens who had been there talked in whispers. They talked about what they had seen, about the human who had walked into their world and changed it. He was just one human, someone said. How did he do it? I do not know, another answered. But I am glad he did not look at me. In the front row, the seat where the Dreth with gold teeth had sat was empty. He had left the station, gone back to his ship, gone somewhere far away. But the beings who knew him said he looked different when he left. Smaller, somehow. Like something had been taken from him. Not his money, not his power, his bravery. That human had walked into the room and dragged the bravery out of everyone there. Not with weapons, not with armies, just with his eyes, just with his words, just with his refusal to be afraid. The story spread. From the station to the sector, from the sector to other sectors, from traders to soldiers to kings. A human saved a Falari cub from a Dreth auction. One human against 40 armed aliens. And the 40 let him go. Some said it was a lie. Some said it was exaggerated. Some said humans were not really that scary. But those who had been there knew the truth. They had seen it with their own eyes. They had felt the cold presence of a human who had decided that something mattered, who had drawn a line and refused to move. And they knew, in the deepest parts of their hearts, that they never wanted to feel that again. Somewhere in the dark of space, a small ship flew toward a distant star. Inside it, a human and his friend slept in their chairs. And in the back, wrapped in blankets, a small orange cub dreamed of golden eyes and warm hands and a voice that promised safety. She dreamed of the human who had walked through a room full of monsters, and the monsters had stepped aside. The hall outside the auction room was long and dark. Old lights hung from the ceiling, but most of them were broken. The ones that worked made a buzzing sound like dying insects. The floor was covered in dirt and stains that Tay did not want to think about. He walked fast, not running, but close to it. Hannah was still in his arms. She had wrapped her small paws around his neck and buried her face in his chest. He could feel her heart beating. Fast, so fast. Like a small drum that would not slow down. Tay. Sue's voice came from behind him. Footsteps followed. His friend appeared beside him, breathing hard. Tay, are you crazy? Do you know what you just did? I know, Tay said. He did not slow down. You just made enemies with the most powerful Dreth trader in this sector. He has ships. He has an army. He will come for us. I know. Sue grabbed his arm. Tay stopped. They stood in the dark hall, looking at each other. Sue's face was white with fear. His eyes were wild. Why? Sue asked. Why did you do this? It was just a cub. There are so many like it. You cannot save them all. No one can save them all. Tay looked at his friend. He saw the fear. He understood it. Sue was right, in a way. There were millions of slaves in the galaxy. Millions of cubs just like Hannah. Buying one of them would not change anything. The trade would go on. The suffering would go on. Nothing would change. But something had changed. Something inside Tay. I did not do it to save them all, Tay said. His voice was soft now, tired. I did it to save myself. Sue blinked. What? If I walked away, Sue. If I left that cub to die while I could have done something, I would have died too. Not my body. Something else. Something more important. The cub moved in his arms. Hannah lifted her head and looked at Sue with her big golden eyes. There were still tears in them. But there was something else too now. Something new. He saved me, Hannah said. Her voice was small and broken. He saved me when no one else would. Sue stared at her. Then he looked back at Tay. For a long moment, no one spoke. The only sound was the buzzing of the old lights above their heads. Then Sue sighed. It was a big sigh. The kind that comes out when you stop fighting something. Fine, he said. Fine. You saved the cub. Now what do we do? Where do we go? The Dreth will be looking for us. The ship, Tay said. We go to the ship. We leave this station. We find somewhere safe. Somewhere safe? In this sector? The Dreth own half of it. Then we go to a different sector. Sue threw his hands up in the air. You are impossible. You know that? Completely impossible. But he followed. He always followed. That was the thing about Sue. He complained a lot, but when it mattered, he was there. They moved through the station. The halls were getting more crowded now. News traveled fast in places like this. Beings looked at them as they passed. Some with fear, some with anger. Some was something that might have been respect. Tay ignored them all. He kept walking. Keep moving. That was the rule. Never stop. Never slow down. Never give your enemies time to catch up. They were almost at the docking bay when the Dreth found them. There were 5 of them, big ones. They stood in the middle of the hall like gray mountains. Their red eyes glowed in the dim light. One of them was the trader from the auction. The one with the gold teeth. Human, the Dreth said. His voice echoed off the metal walls. His voice echoed off the metal walls. I changed my mind. Tay stopped. Sue stopped beside him. The cub in Tay's arms made a small sound of fear. I paid for the cub, Tay said. His voice was calm, always calm. The sale is done. I do not care about the sale. The Dreth took a step forward. I care about respect. You made me look weak in front of my buyers. You made me look afraid. I cannot let that stand. Then you should not have been afraid. The Dreth's face twisted with rage. I was not afraid. I was being careful. There were too many witnesses. But here, he looked around the empty hall. Here there are no witnesses. The other Dreth laughed. It was a deep, rumbling sound, like stones falling down a mountain. Sue stepped in front of Tay. His hands were shaking, but his voice was strong. You do not want to do this. Killing humans brings trouble. Big trouble. The Human Alliance will come for you. The Human Alliance? The Dreth laughed again. They do not care about 2 humans on a nothing station in a nothing sector. They will not even know you are dead. Maybe, Tay said. He shifted the cub to one arm. His other hand moved slowly to his side, to the weapon hidden under his jacket. But do you want to find out? The Dreth looked at him, looked at his hand, looked at his eyes. Tay knew what the Dreth saw. He saw a human, small, weak, easy to kill. But he also saw something else. He saw the same thing everyone in the auction hall had seen. That cold, dark thing that lived behind Tay's eyes. That thing that did not know how to be afraid. I meant what I said, Tay continued. Every word. If you kill me here, it will not matter. Because one day, someone will come for you. My people have long memories. We do not forget. We do not forgive. You will spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder, wondering when the knife will come. And then, one day, it will come. And you will remember this moment. The hall was silent. The Dreth warriors looked at their leader. They were waiting for an order, waiting to attack, but the leader did not give the order. He stood there, staring at Tay, staring at the small human holding a small cub, staring at something he did not understand. You are crazy, the Dreth said finally. All humans are crazy. Maybe, Tay said. Or maybe we just love harder than you, and hate harder, and fight harder. For things that matter. He nodded toward the cub in his arms. She matters. To me, she matters. And I will burn the whole galaxy down before I let you touch her again. The Dreth stared at him for a long time. Then, slowly, he stepped aside. The other Dreth followed. They made a path through the middle, an open path to the docking bay. Go, the leader said. His voice was heavy with anger and something else. Something like confusion. Go, and do not come back to this station. If I ever see you again, I will kill you. No matter the cost. Tay walked forward. Sue followed close behind. They passed between the Dreth warriors, like walking through a forest of gray stone dot. No one stopped them. No one touched them. When they reached the other side, Tay turned back. He looked at the Dreth leader one last time. Thank you, he said. The Dreth made a face of disgust. I did not do it for you. I did it because killing you would be more trouble than you are worth. Tay smiled. That same dark smile from before. Keep telling yourself that. Then he turned and walked away. Toward the docking bay. Toward his ship. Toward Freedom Dot in his arms. Hana looked up at him. Her golden eyes were wide with wonder. You are brave, she whispered. So brave. No, Tay said. He pushed open the door to the docking bay. His ship was waiting. Old and ugly, but it would fly. It would take them away from here. I am just human. This is what we do. What do you do? Tay looked down at her. At this small, broken thing that had trusted him with her life. That had crawled across a floor to reach him. That had chosen hope when there was no hope left. We fight, he said, for the things that matter, even when it is stupid, even when it is dangerous, even when everyone tells us not to. We fight anyway, because that is who we are. Hana smiled. It was a small smile. Weak, but it was real. I am glad, she said. I am glad humans exist. Tay carried her up the ramp and into the ship. The door closed behind them, and the darkness of the station was gone. The sound of Tay's boots on the metal floor was the only sound in the room. Every step echoed off the walls. Every step made the silence heavier. It was like the air itself was holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Aliens watched him pass. They did not move. They did not speak. Some of them had never seen a human before. Some of them had. The ones who had knew to be afraid. Humans were strange creatures. Weak bodies. Short lives. But something lived inside them that other species did not understand. Something wild. Something that did not know how to give up. Tay reached the edge of the platform. He stopped there. He looked up at the Dreth with the gold teeth. The Dreth was still holding the shock collar controller. His forearms hung at his sides like gray snakes. His small red eyes stared down at the human. "What do you want, small thing?" the Dreth asked. His voice was not friendly anymore. It was hard and cold. The voice of a creature that had killed many times before. Tay did not answer right away. He looked at the cub on the floor of the platform. Hannah was still on the ground. Her golden eyes were looking at him. Really looking. Like she was seeing something. Something she had forgotten existed. Hope. "I want you to put down the controller," Tay said. His voice was calm. Too calm. Like the surface of a lake before a storm. The Dreth laughed. It was a loud, ugly sound. "You want me to what? Who do you think you are? Human. This is my property. I will do what I want with it." "It is not your property yet," Tay said. "The sale is not finished." The Vex slid forward on its tail. Its eyes were narrow with anger. "This is an auction. You cannot just walk down here and give orders. Go back to your seat." No, the word was simple. Just one word. But the way Tay said, it made the room feel colder. Some aliens in the back rows started to stand up. They wanted to leave. They knew something bad was about to happen. The Dreth stepped forward. He was 3 times bigger than Tay. His shadow covered the human completely. "You say no to me? Do you know what I do to things that say no to me?" "I do not care what you do to other things," Tay said. He still did not move. "I am telling you what is going to happen now. You are going to put down that controller. You are going to step away from the cub. And you are going to let me buy it." Laughter came from somewhere in the crowd. But it was nervous laughter. Scared laughter. The kind of laughter that comes out when people do not know what else to do. The Dreth did not laugh. He was looking at Tay's eyes. Looking at what was inside them. And for the first time, something changed in his gray face. Something that might have been doubt. "You are crazy," the Dreth said. "You are one human. I have 20 warriors on this station. My ship has weapons that can break moons. What can you do?" Tay smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of something that had stopped pretending to be safe. "What can I do?" Tay repeated. He took one step up onto the platform. Just one step. But that one step changed everything. "Do you know what humans are, Dreth? Do you know where we come from?" The Dreth did not answer. His 4 hands were closing into fists. "We come from a planet that tried to kill us," Tay said. He took another step. "Every day, it tried to kill us. The cold tried to freeze us. The heat tried to burn us. The animals tried to eat us. The sickness tried to poison us. Everything tried to end us." Another step. He was very close to the Dreth now. Close enough to smell the alien's breath. It smelled like old meat and blood. "But we did not die," Tay continued. His voice was getting softer now, quieter, like a whisper. But somehow, everyone in the room could hear him. "We learned. We changed. We became the most dangerous thing on our world. Not because we were the biggest. Not because we were the strongest. But because we never, ever stopped." The Dreth's eyes moved to the side. He was looking for his guards. Looking for help. But the guards were frozen. They were watching Tay like rabbits watching a snake. "I am going to buy that cub," Tay said. "You are going to let me. And if you do not, I am going to show you why the galaxy learned to fear humans. Not today. Not tomorrow. But one day, when you think you are safe, I will find you. I will find everyone you love. I will burn everything you have built. And when you are sitting in the ashes, I will make you remember this moment." The room was completely silent now. No one was laughing. No one was even breathing too loud. They were all watching, all waiting. The cub on the floor moved. Slowly, painfully, Hannah pushed herself up. She crawled across the platform, not toward the exit, not toward safety. She crawled toward Tay, toward the human who had walked into a room full of monsters and refused to be afraid. The Dreth watched the cub move. His red eyes went from Hana to Tay and back again. Something was happening in his mind. Some kind of calculation. Some kind of fear that he did not want to admit. "This is stupid," the Dreth said. But his voice had changed. It was not so loud now. Not so sure. "It is just a cub. There are millions of them in the galaxy. Why do you care about this one?" Tay looked down at Hana. The little Falari had reached his feet. She pressed her small body against his leg. She was still shaking, still afraid. But she had chosen him, chosen to trust him, chosen to hope. "Because I can," Tay said. He put his hand on the cub's head, gently, like she was made of glass. "Because someone has to. Because if I walk away now, I stop being human." The Dreth stared at him for a long moment. The controller was still in his hand. He could push the button. He could make the cub scream. He could call his guards. He could start a fight, but he did not. Instead, he threw the controller on the floor. It made a small sound when it hit the metal. "Take it," the Dreth said. His voice was full of anger. But under the anger, there was something else. Something like respect. Or maybe just fear wearing a mask. "Take your stupid cub. I do not want it anymore." He turned and walked away. His guards followed him. One by one, they left the platform, left the room, left the human standing there with a small orange cub pressed against his leg. The Vex looked at Tay with its narrow eyes. "You will have to pay," it said. The cub was part of the auction. "You must pay the starting price." Tay reached into his jacket. He pulled out a small bag, credits, probably all the credits he had. He threw the bag to the Vex. "There," he said. "Now the cub is mine." The Vex caught the bag. It looked inside. Its face showed surprise. Then it smiled its sharp-toothed smile. "Yes," it said. "The cub is yours. Please, take it and go. You are bad for business." Tay bent down. He picked up Hana in his arms. She was so light, so small. Her fur was warm against his chest. She looked up at him with her golden eyes. "Safe," she whispered. Her voice was like leaves in the wind. "You make me safe." "Yes," Tay said. He turned and started walking toward the exit. "You are safe now. I promise." Behind him, the auction hall sat in silence. 100 aliens watched him go. None of them tried to stop him. None of them said a word. They had seen something they would not forget. They had seen a human choose to fight for something that was not his. Something weak. Something small. Something that had no value to anyone but him. And they were afraid of what that meant. The cub lay on the cold metal platform. Its small chest moved up and down very fast. Too fast. It was breathing like it had been running for hours. But it had not been running. It had just been trying to survive. The big Dreth with the gold teeth walked down from his seat. His heavy feet made the floor shake with each step. The other buyers watched him with greedy eyes. They wanted the cub too, but they knew better than to stand against a Dreth. Dreth did not like competition. Dreth liked winning. The Dreth stopped at the edge of the platform. He was so big that he blocked the light. His shadow fell over the cub like a dark blanket. The cub looked up at him. Its golden eyes were filled with tears. But it did not cry. It had no tears left to cry. "What is your name, little thing?" the Dreth asked. His voice was almost gentle, almost. But Tay could hear the poison hiding behind the words. The cub opened its mouth. Its voice came out in a small whisper. "Hana." "Hana," the the Dreth repeated. He tasted the name like it was food. That is a soft name. A weak name. I do not like it. He reached down and grabbed the chain attached to the cub's collar. With one arm, he lifted the chain. The cub rose with it. Its small feet left the ground. The collar dug into its neck. It made a choking sound. The crowd watched. No one moved to help. No one even looked away. This was entertainment to them. This was fun. Tay felt his whole body go tight. Every muscle. Every bone. He was like a spring being pressed down. Ready to jump. Ready to break. Tay, Sue said again. His voice was shaking now. Please, we cannot fight them all. There are too many. I know, Tay said. But his eyes never left the cub. Never left Hannah. The Dreth let the chain drop. The cub fell to the platform. It hit the metal hard. It did not scream. It just lay there, breathing, waiting for more pain. Too skinny, the Dreth said. He turned to the Vex. What do you feed it? Air, the Vex laughed. That high, breaking glass laugh. We feed it what it deserves. Nothing more. I can see that. The Dreth kicked the cub with his foot. Not hard enough to break bones. Just hard enough to hurt. Just hard enough to show power. Maybe I will buy it anyway. I can always fatten it up. And if it dies, he shrugged all four of his shoulders. I will buy another one. More laughter from the crowd. The laughter of beings who had sold their souls long ago. Beings who saw life as a game. A game where only the strong mattered. The cub tried to stand again. It got to its knees. Then its feet. It stood there, shaking like a leaf in a storm. Its golden eyes moved across the crowd, looking, searching, hoping Tay felt those eyes pass over him. For a moment, just a moment, their eyes met. The cub looked at him, at the human sitting in the back row, at the only being in the room whose face showed something other than greed or joy. What did the cub see? Tay did not know. Maybe it saw hope. Maybe it saw nothing. Maybe it was too tired to see anything anymore. The Dreth grabbed the chain again. This time, he did not lift it. He pulled it sideways. The cub flew through the air and hit the platform with a terrible sound. The sound of a small body meeting hard metal. The sound of bones that might be broken. Hannah did not move. The room went quiet for a moment. Even the cruel beings in the seats stopped laughing. They waited. They wanted to see if their toy was still working. Slowly, very slowly, the cub moved. One paw reached out. Then another. It was trying to crawl away. Trying to escape. But there was nowhere to go. There was only the platform and the lights and the laughing faces all around. It still moves. The Dreth shouted. He sounded happy. Like a child with a new game. Good. I like things that do not break easy. He pulled the chain again. The cub slid across the metal floor. Its claws tried to grip the platform, but they were too small. Too weak. It could not stop itself. It could only be pulled. Tay watched all of this. He watched, and he felt something inside him change. Something old and deep and dangerous. It was the thing that humans tried to hide. The thing that made other species afraid of them. The thing that had won Earth its place among the stars. It was rage. Not the hot rage that made beings shout and scream. This was cold rage. The kind that froze your heart and cleared your mind. The kind that made you see everything with perfect, terrible clarity. Sue must have felt it. He let go of Tay's arm and moved away. Just a little. Just enough. Tay, Sue whispered. Your eyes, what about them? They are different. They are scary. Tay did not answer. He was not listening anymore. He was watching the Dreth, counting his steps, measuring his arms, looking for weaknesses, The Dreth did not know he was being hunted. He was too busy playing with his new toy. He yanked the chain left. The cub went left. He yanked it right. The cub went right. He was making it dance, making it suffer, making the crowd laugh. Who wants to see it run? The Dreth asked. He looked around the room with his small red eyes. Who wants to see how fast it goes? The crowd cheered. They wanted to see. Of course they did. The Dreth let go of the chain. He took a step back, then another. Then he raised one of his big gray fists. "Run, little Hana," he said. "Run, or I will crush you." The cub looked at him. It did not move. Maybe it could not move. Maybe it had no strength left. The Dreth took a step forward. His fist came down. The cub moved. It ran, not fast, but it ran. It ran across the platform on its small legs. Its chains dragged behind it, making a terrible noise on the metal. The crowd counted. 1, 2, 3. The cub ran for 10 steps before it fell. Its legs gave out. It went down hard and did not get up. The Dreth walked over to it. He stood above the small orange body like a mountain over an ant. "Only 10 steps," he said. He sounded disappointed. "I thought cats were supposed to be fast." "Maybe it needs motivation," someone in the crowd called out. "Use the collar." The Vex clapped its hands together. "What a wonderful idea." "Yes, yes. Let us see the collar work." The Dreth smiled. His gold teeth caught the light. He reached into his belt and pulled out a small black box. A controller. For the shock collar. Tay stood up. Sue grabbed for him, but Tay was already walking down the stairs between the rows of seats, walking toward the platform, walking toward the cub. The room went quiet again. Aliens turned to look at him. They saw a human. Just one human. Not very tall, not very wide. Nothing special, but there was something about the way he walked. Something about the way he moved. Like a hunter. Like a killer. Like something that should not be bothered. "Tay." Sue called from behind him. "Tay, stop. Come back." Tay did not stop. He did not come back. He walked down the stairs, and with every step, the cold rage inside him grew colder. And somewhere on the platform, a small orange cub lifted its head and watched him come. The station floated in the dark space like a metal flower. It was old. It was ugly. It smelled like oil and fear. They called it Station Barracks, and it was the kind of place where good beings did not go. But Kangtae was not a good being. He was just a human trying to survive in a galaxy that did not want him. Tay walked through the narrow halls of the station. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. Around him, aliens of all shapes and sizes moved like water in a river. Some were tall with blue skin. Some were short with too many eyes. Some had no eyes at all. They all had one thing in common. They were here for the auction. The auction hall was in the center of the station. It was a big round room with seats going up like stairs on all sides. In the middle was a platform made of black metal. Bright lights pointed down at it from above. The lights were cold and white. They made everything look sick. Tay found a seat near the back. He did not like to sit in front. Front seats were for rich traders and crime lords. Back seats were for people like him. People who watched. People who waited. Next to him sat his friend, Park Sue. Sue was also human. He was shorter than Tay and had a round face that always looked worried. Right now, his face looked very worried. "I do not like this place," Sue whispered. His eyes moved around the room like scared birds. "We should not be here. We need parts for the ship," Tay said. His voice was flat and calm. "The dealer said to meet him here. He could have picked a better place." Dealers do not pick nice places. That is why they are dealers. Sue made a small sound of anger but said nothing more. He crossed his arms and looked at the platform below. More and more aliens were filling the seats. The room was getting loud with strange voices and stranger languages. Tay watched them all. He had learned to watch. In space, watching kept you alive. Not watching got you killed. He saw a group of Dreth traders in the front row. Dreth were big creatures with gray skin like stone and small red eyes. They had 4 arms and used all of them to make deals. Bad deals. Cruel deals. The Dreth were known for their slave trade. They bought and sold living beings like others bought and sold food. Tay felt something cold in his chest when he looked at them. It was not fear. It was something else. Something darker. The lights in the room went dim. Only the lights on the platform stayed bright. A door opened on one side of the platform, and a tall alien walked out. This one was a Vex. Vex had long bodies like snakes standing up. They had arms but no legs. They moved by sliding on their tails. This Vex wore a red robe and had gold rings on all its fingers. "Welcome, welcome," the Vex said. Its voice was high and sharp, like breaking glass. "Welcome to the Vex auction. Today, we have many fine items for you. Ships, weapons, gems, and other things." The crowd made sounds of excitement. Tay did not move. He kept watching. The auction started with small things. Old ship parts. Broken weapons. Strange boxes that no one knew how to open. Tay was not interested in any of it. He waited for the dealer to come find him. But the dealer did not come. An hour passed. Then another. Sue was getting restless. He kept moving in his seat and making small sounds of boredom. "Where is this dealer?" Sue asked. "He said he would be here." "He will come," Tay said. But even he was starting to wonder. Then the Vex on the platform raised its many ringed hands. The room went quiet. The quiet was different this time. It was heavy. It was hungry. "And now," the Vex said, "we have something very special. Very rare. Very young." The door on the platform opened again. 2 Dreth guards walked out. Between them, they dragged a small figure. A figure with orange fur and big golden eyes. A figure that was shaking so hard. Tay could see it from where he sat. It was a Falari. Cub. Tay felt the cold thing in his chest grow colder. Falari were a peaceful species. They looked like small cats that walked on 2 legs. They lived on forest planets and kept to themselves. They did not fight. They did not trade. They just wanted to be left alone. But the galaxy never left anyone alone. The cub was small. Very small. It could not have been more than 6 cycles old. That was like 6 years for humans. It was just a child. A child in chains. The chains were thick and heavy. Too heavy for such a small body. The cub had to use all its strength just to stand. Its orange fur was dirty and matted. Its golden eyes were wide with fear. Around its neck was a metal collar. The collar had a light on it. A red light. That meant it was a shock collar. One push of a button and the cub would feel pain. Terrible pain. The crowd made sounds of interest. Some leaned forward in their seats. Others started talking to each other in low voices. Tay heard numbers being whispered. Prices. They were already deciding how much to pay. "Oh no," Sue said. His voice was very quiet. No. Tay said nothing. He could not speak. His throat had closed up. His hands had become fists without him knowing. The Vex smiled. Its mouth was full of small, sharp teeth. This young Falari was taken from a transport ship 3 rotations ago. The rest of its family did not survive the collection, but this one is strong. It will make a fine pet, or a fine worker, or Whatever you want it to be. The crowd laughed. It was an ugly sound. The sound of creatures who have forgotten what it meant to be kind. One of the Dreth in the front row stood up. He was bigger than the others. He had scars on his face and gold teeth in his mouth. He pointed one of his forearms at the cub. "Let me see it move," the Dreth said. His voice was like rocks grinding together. "I want to see if it can still run." The Vex nodded. "Of course, honored buyer." One of the guards grabbed the cub's chain and pulled. The cub fell forward onto its hands and knees. The crowd laughed again. The guard pulled harder. The cub tried to stand but could not. The chains were too heavy. It fell again. Tay watched. His fists were so tight now that his nails were cutting into his palms. He could feel blood. He did not care. "Make it move," the Dreth shouted. "I am paying good credits. I want to see what I am buying." The guard kicked the cub. It was not a hard kick, but the cub was so small and so weak. It cried out in pain. The sound was high and thin. The sound of a child who had given up hope. Sue grabbed Tay's arm. Tay, do not do anything stupid." Tay looked at his friend. Sue's eyes were begging him to stay quiet, to stay still, to be smart. But Tay had never been smart. He had only ever been human. And sometimes, being human meant doing stupid things.